Step-by-step Yoast SEO tutorial in 2018. This video is created for RankYa fans, particularly because of the latest change Yoast SEO plugin has made, which is the version 7.0. So although I've created previous video sessions, let's go and learn how we can set up Yoast step by step. In this video session, I'm just going to fly through to keep this video as short as possible so that you have a better experience viewing. You may need to pause at certain stages, okay? Check SEO configuration. Let's press on that and let's see what this latest change is telling us to do with this wizard stuff. Configure Yoast SEO in few steps, or let us do it for you. You don't need to pay any money because the way that you're meant to use this plugin should be done like this. My site is live, ready to be indexed. Next. What does a site represent? In my example blog, if you've got an e-commerce, surely you select shop. All the others, it's not going to be ideal for most setups. But if you've got a news related website, thereby you need different settings for Google rankings, such as news sitemaps and so on. A small office business, a corporation, portfolio, perhaps you're showcasing images and so on. Then you may select this, but remember, these are settings for configuration which we're gonna change later on anyway. So I'm just showing you this as a guide only. Name of the person if you are managing a blog only. If it's a company, provide details and select your logo, which later on, once we set this plugin up, I'm going to show you how to change all those things anytime. Okay, so let's go next. Here it's telling you to populate social media profile links. So let's not even touch base with that because that's a straightforward process. Your Facebook business page, YouTube channel and others goes in there. So the configuration settings will be this. It's taking a bit of time because it's populating all these, whereby, you know what, this is the first time settings and so on, right? And quite honestly, we still need to make changes because the default settings this plugin is now adding is just confusing and unneeded for your website. Now, search engine visibility. Search engine should show posts, yes. Pages, yes. Galleries, in my example, no. Albums, no. Gallery tags, no. This will change depending on the theme that you're using. Make sense? So ideally you want posts, pages, your products at minimum to be indexed by Google. Rest of them, usually for WordPress sites, will be just duplicate content. Multiple authors, in my example, no. In yours, maybe. I do have contributors to RankYa blog, so for my example, I'll set yes. That means if you have other people logging into your site, then you select yes. Google Search Console, get authorization code. Let's press on that. Here, it's asking you to grant permission for Yoast SEO plugin to access your Search Console. This is actually not smart, because then what this plugin recently has introduced is crawl errors, whereby if you connect Search Console to Yoast, then every day you'll be seeing 404 page not found errors. To fix page not found errors, simply visit RankYa YouTube channel, whereby I actually do have the videos for fixing that up properly. So I never want to, in fact, I don't encourage you to let this plugin connect to your Search Console, because to maintain your website with Search Console, perhaps spend an hour per month to double check everything in Search Console, because this plugin is just going to grab 404 pages which are actually part of running a website. Make sense? So if you were to say to yourself, you know what, now I do want to enable this plugin to connect, then you select allow. It's going to generate an authentication key whereby you need to paste that in here. So I'm going to skip this stage because I don't want Yoast SEO to connect to my search console. Let's press next. Here, title settings, just leave at default. It makes no difference. Whichever one you choose, it's totally up to you. Newsletter updates, if you want to stay up to date and be bombarded by, I'm not even going to say the word right. Press next. Then upsell here, and you've done it. Close. Let's go and see what else we need to do to set this plugin up properly. Because even if you follow this, it's not going to be smart. By default, you'll have all these on. And if you start focusing on this, I promise you, you're only going to waste your time, money, energy, and you're not going to grow your website. Instead, select XML Sitemap if you're not using any other sitemaps. You can enable this as well. Remember, you need to press on question mark icon with the latest Yoast plugin to be able to access and see your sitemap. And I'm going to show you how you can tweak it. If you want to use this plugin to verify your site, you simply grab meta verification key from your Google Search Console. Let's press on search appearance, because here, this is where we need to then change things. For me, I generate these manually, so I don't want to have this in here, but your setup, surely you can utilize this. Content types. This is very important page, and in fact, settings here. What you need to remember is, what you submit to Google in terms of XML sitemaps is the pages that are unique and original on your site, including WooCommerce site. So if you're running an e-commerce site using WooCommerce, then make sure you have at least post, pages, and product sitemap, not tags and so on, because that's not smart to have. So let's imagine this scenario. Let's press on taxonomies and let's press no for this. And let's save changes to see what happens. Category sitemap will now be removed from the main sitemap. Best practice is post sitemap, page sitemap. If you're running WooCommerce product sitemap, submit those individual sitemaps to Google Search Console instead of the parent one, and so on. So let's enable this, save changes. Here, that sitemap link will now show up here as well now, right? So therefore, content types, posts, pages at minimum. If you're running WooCommerce, products you want to index in Google, right? Because you want to rank them. Depending on the theme that you're using, you may see all these different things, depending on the plugins as well, because some of them generate these automatically. And Yoast picks these up. So the best way to set these up is for posts, simply paste this into title template and excerpt for meta description template. Pages, same thing. Products, you can do the same thing. Remember, these are general settings. To be able to have an optimized site, you actually need to optimize individual posts, pages, and products as well. So therefore, content types, yes for post, yes for pages. If you're running WooCommerce, yes. And the rest will 99% of times, for most setups, will be set to no, except you're using custom post types. Custom post types whereby you have unique content on those custom post types. If that is the case, you select no, as in you select yes. Let's imagine this particular example was custom post types that I want Google to index because I have original content on them. If that's the case, I'll select yes here. Okay, so keep that in mind. And as you can see, typical setup for WordPress, you have these set to no. Pages, posts, products for WooCommerce, and custom post types whereby you want those post types to be ranking in Google, then you select yes. The rest, you select no. Media, redirect attachment URLs to the attachment itself. No. Show media in search results? No. Date snippet? No. Because attachment pages are generally automatically created when you upload a media type to WordPress. That means if I press on this and press on view attachment page, as you can see, this particular page, because of WordPress, it does have its own URL. Now, I should not have these URLs to be indexed in Google. Why? Because there is nothing unique here. It's just the way WordPress works. Because that image is actually uploaded to a particular URL here. That means I want this URL to be ranking in Google, not the attachment page. Okay, redirect attachment URLs to attachment itself. Select yes, no, depending on your setup, but ideally you don't want attachment pages in Google. Let's go in taxonomies. Here, you simply select yes to categories if there is something unique on your website categories. Let's imagine this particular category. So when you visit this category, if something is unique here, then yes, you want that to be indexed by Google, so therefore you set yes. If not, you select no. Post formats, enable, disable. Usually it's safe to leave this enabled because you can then optimize the individual post formats. Photo gallery, it's generated by a plugin. I don't want this in here. I don't want Google to see these auto-generated stuff. Makes sense? So in my example, I have categories, yes, to be indexed in Google. Tags, no. And once again, you can pause and copy and paste these details. Save changes. Let's move on. Look at archives. Author archives. Here it says enable. Let's disable that. Date archives, disable that as well. Yeah. If you have a membership site, then you may need to have this enabled. Let's imagine you're running a forum. That means other authors are logging in and creating content perhaps. If that's the case, you can have this enabled. If not, select disabled. Okay. Save changes. Breadcrumb, this is to do with the theme that you're using. So if you enable this, basically this plugin will overwrite the theme breadcrumb details, whereby you can easily change them here. My theme does not use breadcrumbs, so I select that disabled. But if you're using breadcrumbs for your website and you want to overwrite things, you can select these details, change them if you want, and then let's imagine you have taxonomy to show in breadcrumbs for content types. Let's say category. These are for posts. Let's say prominent word. But really, these are not going to help your Google rankings. Make sense? Because breadcrumbs are very important for any type of website who are using them. They are to do with your navigation, right? But adding additional details to your breadcrumb structure, that's not smart. But nonetheless, this plugin gives you that option. Let's press on RSS. You can simply populate these, save changes. Search console, because I have not connected this plugin to Search console, then I don't have those details, as you can see. Okay, because I manage the Search console manually instead of using this plugin, or else you will always see crawl errors. Some of them are natural, some of them are not. And crawl errors is just one part of website optimization, makes sense? And you should manage that through Search console along with other Search console insights given to you for your website. So basically I fly through, I know I rather talk fast, but 15 minutes because of the latest change Yoast SEO tutorial has made. Because recently I've created an hour video showing you the best settings for Yoast. But in this video, designed specifically for RankYa fans, you now know whether you use the configuration wizard or you come back and start changing tweaks as I've shown to you. Remember, for any type of WordPress site, in terms of SEO, do not rely on any plugins to do search engine optimization. This plugin is great whereby you can use sitemaps for it, which are important. And once you set up the general settings, all you need to ask yourself is, you know what? Any part of a typical WordPress site, whether the blog posts, whether the pages, whether the products for e-commerce sites, these all should be ranking in Google, correct? If that's the case, what you want to do is you want to make sure you select yes for the parts of your WordPress site which are unique and you want to rank in Google. Then you select yes. For everything else, you select no. That includes tags and so on, because tag pages are not unique. Most often categories are not unique either. And archives is to do with archives. Now these are general settings of Yoast, because to optimize your individual landing pages, whether they are blog posts, whether they are products, pages, this plugin will give you an option here, and this is where optimization can be done for any type of URL. If you're not seeing that, simply make sure you have Yoast SEO box checked. Then whatever post, page, then you can override the titles of it. But the title should reflect the page title here. This is a WordPress title, and this is Yoast SEO plugin title, whereby it gives you option to override it. Slug, do never change this, because that's here, and it should be as closely as related to these here, the keywords there. Description, keep it around 150 characters despite what anyone else says, okay? Because Google is not the only search engine. Furthermore, simply describe the page content. You can override certain settings for social media shares. You can change the title if you want. Once again, it should be as closely related to page title. And you can populate the description for social shares. For Facebook, I'll override it like this, but you can override it so then when you share this post on Facebook, these details will come up. Settings here, you have yes, no. That is for indexation. So if I select no, that means this plugin will generate a meta tag called no index. That means when Google visits this landing page, it's going to see no index here. In my example, I've set it to index because I want Google to index this page and its content, so it can rank me for it. And you can set canonical URLs, but by default, that is the canonical URL anyway. So you don't have to change anything there, okay? When would this be ideal? Let's imagine you have a canonical URL on this page, and then you've created another domain using the same content from this site. Then you may change the canonical URL accordingly. But once again, these settings, you have to be thoughtful as to, if you said no, you're telling search engines like Google not to index whatever content is here. Okay, so you actually don't want to have that set to no. Instead, leave it at yes, unless it's for some private pages or posts or products, then you can set no. Because when you set no here, it will remove it from the sitemap as well, whatever URL you're setting no to. That means if I set no to contact page, then this contact page will have no directives within it. as in no index directives. Makes sense? But I want that page to be in Google Index, that contact page. So therefore I set it to yes as opposed to no. Okay? So once again, whatever URLs you want Google to index, they need to be original. And then you use Yoast plugin and set to yes for those pages. That is the most important part. Apart from that, you optimize individual pages. You can override the title, and it's smart to include meta description. And if you want, you can change the details for Facebook shares, Twitter shares, or any other shares, and so on. So apart from that, everything else that this plugin makes available in 2018 is only going to waste your time. So make sure you have all this nonsense stuff set to off. If you're using Yoast for XML, set that yes. No advanced setting for authors. If you set this to no, that means they won't be able to make changes here. I thank you very much for learning with me, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.